Hello, everyone. None of you got the memo. You were all supposed to take early flights out this morning. So, unfortunately, I'm just going to pray that you all had delays or something. But, anywho, good morning. Want to mirror what Aaron said. Want to thank the media post team. These last 3 days have been awesome. It's my first media post event. So, been an amazing experience. Very specifically, need to shout out Mikey. It's been an act of God to get my slides over to media post. And he was very gracious and very patient with me. So thank you so much, Mikey. Um, I have good news and bad news today. Bad news, I don't have any fun videos and I didn't bring any video games to share. So I'm very sorry. Good news, I'm not going to say AI once in this presentation. So if that's good, great. If not, feel free to see yourself out. That's okay too. So, show of hands, who in this room has played or as a partner or as a child who has played the new EA Sports College Football 2025 game? Alrighty, congrats, guys. It's a very hard game. So, I am not a gamer, but I'm going to talk to you about video games. So, for Discover, since our beginning, we've been a challenger brand. If anyone's nostalgic for the 80s, feel free to look up our first Super Bowl spot from the 80s called Dawn of Discover. It is fantastically 80s and it's a great spot. So I would play it for you, but it's day 3. We're keeping things moving. But if you're looking at us from a credit card, from a bank, from a network, from any of our other products, we're a challenger in the marketplace. And we don't have the size of budget that a lot of our competitors do. So we have to make every single dollar work a lot harder for us than, most brands. And we think that kind of is mirrored with our audience. We call them the humble achievers. We always get in fights at work of who we think is the most humble achiever on our team, but the audience, they're very practical. They're grounded. They work hard. They want to be rewarded for their hard work. They're not elite and they're not going after that elite status, but they're comfortable and they want to enjoy the life that they have. They're truly salt of the earth people. They're hardworking and they want to be recognized for that. And it kind of goes hand in hand with our mission, which we're obsessed with our customers and they're at the core of everything we do. Some of you may have seen our Super Bowl spot last year. Our customer service is 100% US based. If you call in, you'll get a real person, which is awesome. No robots. And we're meeting people where they are. We're much more concerned with our customers and what they need than what our competitors are doing. We're not here to judge anyone on where they are in their financial journey. We're just here to help and help them grow in their finances. So with our ethos and our mission and our audience, we know we're trying to connect with, that we're activating many different ways across channels. And to achieve this, here are 2 great examples. When I started at Discover 4 years ago, I came into 2 amazing existing sponsorships. We have been the official credit card of the NHL since 2009, and we added the official bank in the last few years. And we've been the official credit card of the Big Ten since 2017. Both of these sponsorships were strategically chosen based on our audience and what they like to watch and what they like to interact with. Firstly, we're activating within these games on linear and CTV, obviously. We have longstanding partnerships with the networks that carry these games, and they mirror our sponsorship rights. But we also are putting a lot of thought and strategy and work and investment into other ways to activate on the ground. We want to connect with these fan bases because we know fandom is a massive cultural moment for us. We also are working with the leagues and the talent and other people within those sports realms to create custom content. You may have seen our ad with Matt Leinart for the Big Ten football season this year, or our ad with Jennifer Coolidge and Wayne Gretzky during the NHL. Also, if I have any Big Ten or NHL fans in the room, pre-apologizing for the frequency, but hopefully you're enjoying our ads. Moving on. So not only are we online, like I said, but we're on the ground and we're activating. So throughout the Big Ten season, we build out a trailer and we create, picture and opportunities for fans to interact with our brand on site and on campus. On the top left, you can see our mock-up of the Big Ten locker room that kind of traveled across the country and landed at the end of the season at the Big Ten football championship. We have important alumni and sports figures from those schools that, they're posting on their socials to let people know where they'll be, while also further, expanding our brand on their social networks. For example, we activated the Wisconsin-Alabama game this year. We had Ron Dane there interacting with fans, taking pictures, and alumni were very excited, and students, to see him. At the end of the football season, we activated the Discover Big Ten Championship game, typically in Indianapolis. We also, for the NHL, activate at the Discover Winter Classic, which was at Wrigley Field this year, which was great to have it in our hometown, and the Four Nations tournament when it was in Boston. The activations, we have rotating talent at them, like I mentioned with Ron Dane earlier, but you can see middle bottom, we had Wayne Gretzky at the Winter Classic this year, along with other people like Daryl Payne, Jeremy Roenick, and Biz. Fun fact, when I got to the Fan Fest before Winter Classic this year, the weather was about as bad as it could be for Chicago. It was like in the 30s, raining hard, absolutely freezing. And I was a little worried about the turnout, but Biz was there, and the line to see him and the fans that we brought in, because people love him so much, is exactly what we're trying to do with our activations. So that was really great to see. We're also on site working with different influencers and making social content on our own to share before, during, and after to further extend our presence around these sponsorships. As I mentioned before, we're absolutely obsessed with our customers. And following our motto, we really want to make sure everybody there and everyone we're interacting with feels like a VIP, even if they aren't one. For example, Big Ten Championship game this year, we went to arguably the worst seats at the Lucas Oil Stadium. It was top row, you could touch the ceiling in the corner. We upgraded that whole row down to an on-field suite. I was in the suite when they came down and they were ecstatic. There was one girl who I think may have FaceTime every single contact in her phone to show them where she was sitting. And it didn't hurt that that suite happened to be next to Pat McAfee's suite. And he actually ended up talking about us on his show, even though we weren't interacting with him or engaging with him yet. So that was a really great earned media, which little teaser for later. But we're honoring our fans also at the game, where at our activations, we're handing out freebies that are branded, but things that they can use at the game. For hockey, we're handing out the scarves, and football, we got bucket hats and pins and things that students like, fans like, and people are lining up to get them, which is always great. People love a freebie. So, at the core of everything we do, fans, like I said, are number one for us. We want them to feel like VIPs. We want them to have their moment, and we want to be the ones to provide it for them. We knew our fans were seeing us. They were seeing us at the game. If they were there, they were seeing our activation. They were seeing us in stadium. If they were watching on TV, on CTV, in their homes, or out at a bar, they were seeing our ads and seeing our in-game integrations, and they were seeing us on social media. But we knew we had to grow, and we weren't sure where to grow next. We worked with our partners to try and find some cultural moments and cultural categories that we thought could be a good idea. We thought about music. We know the fandom is there in music. But to activate at the level that we were, it was really expensive and kind of a crowded space. So we moved on and we started to look at gaming. Frankly, gaming scares me a little bit. I am not a gamer. I have not owned a console since Nintendo 64. But we knew that it was huge and it's a wide breadth. So we didn't know where to start. We have an existing partnership with Twitch that's been great. We're running our video content there. And we historically have had the Discover Bowl, which was students in a tournament playing a game that was live streamed on Twitch, which was great. But we knew there was more that we could do. Enter EA Sports College Football 2025. Some of you may know, before the 2025 edition, the game had not come out since 2014. Thanks to NIL, the EA Sports was able to begin to use players' image and likeness in the game again. Fans were eager for this game to come out. Every time there was a teaser on social media, or on the top left, you can see a fan-created cover art of possibly what the game could look like. Social media exploded. We knew we wanted to be a part of it and wanted to be there. As EA began to develop the game, they started softly reaching out to existing college football sponsors. We knew we had to say yes, but we had no idea and no information of what this was going to look like. To get this sold in, we used the social media buzz, past metrics, and really grounded in our current college football sponsorship to get that yes throughout our organization. And it really was an easy yes, although a little scary without that information. To ground everybody, the last time that the game came out in 2014, this was the last year of the BCS College Football Series before we switched to the playoff model. Macklemore Thrift Shop was the #1 song in the world. Selfie became an official word. Twitter IPO'd. Bitcoin just hit $1,000. And Yahoo purchased Tumblr for a lot of money. So it was a long time ago. During 2020, during COVID, a lot of sports fans, including my family, were eager for sports. There was no live sports, and there was a huge hole where people really needed that sports content. And people with the nostalgia were turning back to games like EA 2014, and we're watching live streams and we're playing the game, and it kind of the popularity began to rose again. And thankfully to NIL, EA was able to act on it. And we saw that popularity during COVID, and it was further helped us with the yes there. Even in recent years, outside of gaming, college football is more popular than ever. As a Big Ten sponsor, we loved the expansion of the Coast to Coast Big Ten league this year. I know a lot of fans weren't thrilled about it, but as a media buyer and a sponsor, I was ecstatic. And honestly, with the Big Ten championship this year with Oregon there, it was very cool to see a new fan base activate. And it's awesome to see fans across the country. Also, there are more people watching college football than ever. In 2023, 3 of the top 100 broadcasts in the country were college football games, which was definitely not the way it was historically. Based on our success with the Big Ten and college football growth, again, easy yes for us to get into this game. What made it such a great fit for us was the seamless integration into the game. The focus was on how to show up that felt complementary to the experience, highly visible, but we didn't want to disrupt or annoy the players. Again, customers and fans at the forefront. Ultimately, our presence mirrors that of our broadcast sponsorships, our in-game segments, our highlighting key players and moments of action. The fans are used to seeing us on broadcast, so seeing us in the game wasn't a big deal. They were used to it. When we were talking about how we wanted to integrate in the game, we talked about how we wanted to honor the fans. We wanted it to be non-intrusive. We wanted to add to the experience of belonging there, and that fans felt okay seeing us there. When we get to the results, within the first 5 months, this was the #1 best-selling American football game in video game history. EA was hoping to see 1.3 billion gameplays in the first year, and they saw 1.1 billion in the first 5 months. There were over 8 million unique players of the game and over 900 million hours of the games played just in the first 5 months. And honestly, a benefit that we could have only dreamed of and thankfully came true was once the game came out, the earned media started rolling in. Across Twitch, YouTube streaming, and social media, we were seeing the game being played and our brand being there. Some of my favorite highlights was a LeBron James stream that had over 150K views featuring our game, and a sketch stream that had over 680K views. For our individual Discover results, we had 1.1 billion first half stats and player of the game impressions, as well as 650 million top 25 rankings and impact player impressions. The stat we were happiest to share with our leadership and our finance team, of course, was the 25-cent eCPM that continues to go down as the game goes on. With all the success we are having in college football, activating an EA NHL 25 was an even easier yes. Just like what we are doing for college football, we're activating in the game the exact same way that we're doing on broadcast with digital dasher boards and center ice integrations. We're currently seeing over 122 million ad board impressions and 123 million center ice impressions. The fact that we were able to marry our existing longstanding sponsorships that have been extremely successful for us into a very smooth integration into the gaming world was great and a huge win. It allowed us to dip our toe into the gaming world in an easy way and make us more comfortable to continue to integrate into gaming in very simple ways, like adding video game fan programmatic audiences, or even start to look into Minecraft with the upcoming movie coming out featuring our talent Jennifer Coolidge. So, of course, with the success, we've obviously had some learnings that we're taking and we're continuing to move forward with. Firstly, ensuring that we're vetting every opportunity appropriately. We did say yes before we knew much, but we were able to look at the details that we did have. We were looking at the surrounding factors, our current sponsorships, historical data, and the social buzz. If it doesn't feel like a right fit for your brand, it probably isn't. Secondly, as a financial services brand, earned media is not a norm for us. As much as I'd love to think that people are constantly talking about how much they love their credit card or student or personal loan, they're not. So when you're doing a partnership and an activation right, the earned media really speaks for itself. And it's its own kind of reporting to tell us that we're reaching the fans we want to, and we're reaching them in the right way. It helps us connect with our fans firsthand and to know we're making that impact. And finally, we've learned to arm our agency partners with the right information to say yes and bring us activations like this quickly. We work super closely with our teams at Mindshare, Revolution, and Shy at New Day in LA to have the information. They know our brand deeply and they know what to bring us fast so we can move fast. It also doesn't help to be flexible with investment when opportunities like this come up. But we truly have great partnership across these agencies to know when to move and to know when we need to say yes. All in all, it can be very scary to enter a new marketplace in a new category like we did with gaming. But as long as you're doing something that feels right and feels like a good fit for your brand, hopefully it'll work out like it did for us. Thank you guys so much.
Molly, thank you so much. I loved everything about the presentation except the Big Ten references. SEC through and through.
Hey,
You're
I
going to
went
hear
to
it
Mizzou,
first
I get it.
here. Florida is going to win the NCAA March Madness Championship. Go Gators. Let's go. I am pumped.
Yeah.
Nothing gets me going like basketball. All right. Questions for Molly?
While you're walking over there, I am a Mizzou fan. I went to Mizzou. I'm also an SEC fan.
All right. So we can be friends.
I get it,
okay.
But I am fully prepared for Mizzou to lose in the first round. Sorry, Tigers.
Hi, Molly, Augusta, over here. I wanted to, can you dig in a little bit deeper on number 3 here to arm your agencies? And what are some of like the biggest learnings or ways that you've unlocked that and kind of opened the door to, I feel like sometimes we're so focused on driving the business that sometimes these bigger, more fun partnerships and activations that do drive the business, right? But maybe don't have that direct correlation.
Yeah.
What are some of the unlocks that you had in making that possible?
So one great way that we did this, we have an existing content budget that lives. It's not planned out. Oftentimes we're rolling it over from quarter to quarter or we're pulling it for other things, but we have it there and it's available. We brief our agencies at the beginning of the year with a content brief so they know our brand very deeply. We're talking with them constantly, but they know the opportunities that work well with our brand. Our sponsorships are ever present. They're not going anywhere. We're locked in for many years. So they know that work really well. But knowing we have that content budget, sorry, finance team, I'm sure they're not watching, but we can show it as flexibility. Heaven forbid something happens. I think all of you know we're going through a possible merger. Who knows? But that is flexibility, heaven forbid. But it's also there for us to utilize for things like this, which is great. And we've kind of armed our agency partners to know that we're willing to say yes to these things. There are a lot of things we said yes to. We're currently sponsoring Selena Gomez's Vivo channel as she's putting out a new album and a few new music videos. So we've historically said yes. I've said no a lot, and it's always with an apology, and they're used to it. But we've worked so closely with our agency partners, and they know that we have that flexibility. So they have gotten, as we've grown that partnership over the years, they've gotten pretty good at weeding things out for us, or we'll bring them things and be like, do you guys think this is good? Great, let's go. In finance, we can't always move that fast. We have to get lots of approval, compliance, fair banking, legal, but we move as fast as we can. So, yeah.
I wore my sweats today.
Ryan with Simul Media. Thank you, Molly. Couple questions. One is, and it's really nice to see in the gaming space being so endemic. Was Discover, did you have exclusivities there like you would have with like an official marketing partnership? Does that elevate the value of what you have within that individual space? And then question 1B would be, how do you map that back to your overall branding strategy, whether it's measuring incrementality or whether it's just so specialized and so siloed that it can stay within its own, unique space?
Absolutely. So when it started, we were only one of 3 sponsors in the game. I think EA only was reaching out to existing college football sponsors, which did help us. We have exclusivity there, at least with the Big Ten, and we do have exclusivity within the credit card space. I think EA also didn't really know how this was going to work, so they wanted to be very careful and wanted to work with partners that do this on broadcast and can easily integrate into a game like this. So we are able to kind of have that exclusivity there. There are now more sponsors, but again, EA is doing it in a very unique and integrated way. So we're not interrupting the playing, we're not interrupting the fan space. And it does, if anyone hasn't played the game, I've watched people play the game. I've tried. It's very difficult, I promise. But it is one of the most realistic video games I've ever seen. When the game gets exciting, you'll see the video start to shake because the fans in the stadium are jumping up and down. It's absolutely wild. So we're able to kind of make sure it's unique in that way, and we do have that exclusivity there, which helps a lot. When talking about, measurement, yes. For measurement and kind of results, we do look at it as a sponsorship. So we're measuring it very similarly to our Big Ten and NHL stuff. Obviously, we're able to get a pretty easy eCPM with the impressions and things like that. So because it is digital, we are able to get a little bit more data. But as many of you know from my roundtable, we can't get a lot of reporting results that other brands can because I can't see how our female to male breakout is, how we're reaching different age groups or different ethnicities because legally I'm not allowed to. So we kind of have to trust the masses and how we're reaching people there. But we've been able to see the interaction, and the earned media is where we're getting a lot of it. We might not be able to numerically tie it, but I can show a screenshot and be like, look, LeBron James is playing the game right now. There's our brand. 150,000 people are seeing it right now. So it kind of helps there. And we have an understanding with our analytics team and, people, we have to be flexible with our KPIs. We can't hold the same KPI for programmatic or for video that we do for things like this. So we work with our teams to ensure what does good look like and how can we continue to grow there.
Molly, thank you so much for kicking us off this morning.
Thanks.